What is up, my fellow creepers and things that go bump in the night? Welcome back to yet another episode of Creature of the Night, guys. You know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that little bell to let you know every time I upload so you can keep up to date with me. Now, first off, happy Valentine's Day, guys. Even if you don't have a Valentine's out there, somebody loves you, alright? Always know that, guys. Let's just keep this fucking positive energy up for this year. Brand new year. Let's get this shit going, guys. In the spirit of the day, you know what? I thought, why not throw out a Valentine's Day related movie or whatever? And I actually found two. And to be honest, first seeing them, saw them out of order. I thought it was a continuation, but it's actually just a reboot. So I thought I'd do a versus. Hey, we're all competing for love, so why not make these two movies compete, right? And I'm speaking, of course, the 1981 version versus the 2009 version. My Bloody Valentine. Now, the 1981 version, starring Paul Kilman, Lori Haler, Neil Affleck, Keith Knight, director George Michaela, I believe that's how you say it. Writers Stephen A. Miller, he actually came up with the story concept, and John Beard actually wrote the film. And the 2009 version is starring one of the favorite Winchester brother from Supernatural, Jensen Ackles. He actually plays the killer, which is pretty dope. So seeing him in a bad role, a negative role, the villain role, whatever you want to call it, and versus the guy who comes and saves the day, I thought it was pretty fucking dope, and I thought he could pull it off pretty well. Jamie King, Kerr Smith, Betsy Rue, director Patrick Lucier. Screenplay by Todd Farmer, Zane Smith, John Baird, and of course it's based off of the Stephen A. Miller story back in 1981. Now, if you haven't seen either version of it, rough rundown for you. How it goes. Again, two different versions, two different writers. It just depends on whatever they saw from the film or whatever they thought of at the moment. So obviously things are going to be different or things are going to be changed. And the original one, it shows, what's his name? Harry Warden. He's a miner who he gets trapped in a mine because of methane buildup, so it causes a collapse. And he gets trapped down there with I think 6 other miners, and he ends up killing them. So they discover that the mine collapse didn't kill these guys. It was him and his pickaxe. And he was, in the original one, he was actually feeding off of them to stay alive, and he killed them so he could conserve his own air. And then the new one, it was a similar situation, but instead of I think it's called the Heiniger mine. So the person who owned it, his son grows up and ends up working in the mine. And in the original one, he's already kind of like an adult. I'm guessing like a teenager fresh out of high school or whatever. And he's actually working. And loosely, he's the cause of the mine collapse. He forgot to bleed the lines, whatever that means. If you're a miner or you know the terminology of what that means, let me know. Leave it in the comments below. But he forgot to bleed the lines, and it ends up causing the collapse. And him and Henry Warden already had beef. Just because your daddy owns the mine, doesn't mean one of those type of situations. And it's basically the same thing. He kills the people, the other miners that survive with him, so that way he can conserve his own air. And the original version, Henry Warden, when he wakes up out of a coma or he escapes from a mental institution. New one, he wakes up out of a coma. 01, he escapes from a mental institution and comes back on the same Valentine's Day to butcher people. Because in the original one, it was the superintendent's fault that the mine collapsed, because they were anxious to get to the dance and go party and drink and have a good time, of course, on Valentine's Day, whatever. And he ends up coming back and killing the superintendents who left them down there and didn't, let anybody know that the levels were dangerous or do their job in turn. And he ends up killing one of the superintendents in front of his son, who later grows up to be Hanniger's best friend, Axel. And Axel, because TJ left, he ends up dating his girl, and there's all conflict between that, obviously. And then in the new one, they kept the same names, but Henniger goes away, but he's actually the one that's locked in the mental institution, and Axel becomes the new sheriff. So, and he ends up marrying his old girlfriend and getting her pregnant, and they have a son together and stuff like that. So again, another issue why they're bumping heads. The original, it turns out to be Axel, because since he saw his father butchered by Harry Warden, it just fucks him up, and he has a mental break, and he becomes the new miner and starts killing all his friends. Especially with Henniger being back in town, he just hates that now I'm losing my girl, so he doesn't want to. Doesn't want to lose another thing that's precious to him. And in the new one, Jensen Ackles had a mental break, and he actually has a split personality, and his other split personality is Henry Warden. Because he died, he just couldn't, and then him discovering the body, he just couldn't let it go, and he becomes Henry Warden. There's even a part where they actually, they confirm it, and they confront him, and he's like, hey, the sheriff's telling him, hey, Henry, are you in there? And you can see where he switches to this killer mode, and even his voice changes a little bit to Henry Warden's, and obviously he fucking goes apeshit on him. Both were really, really dope. Of course, the new one, a lot more up to date music, a lot of more jump scares, and a lot of stuff just to keep your attention, because with everything, the generation going on now, it's hard to keep your attention on anything. That's why everybody fucking suffers from ADHD or ADD. But hey, I'm one of those people, so I'm not talking shit. But it did keep me glued. Even the original one kept me glued, just because I wasn't fucking sure what the hell was going on. Like, if he really escaped, if it was really the original Henry. And then even in the new one where, the citizens of the town actually took justice into their own hand and didn't tell anybody that they actually killed him. They just kind of left it a mystery. Oh, he died in the mine collapse, but they could never find his body or whatever. So yeah, it was pretty dope. The suspense was there. The mystery was there. And then, of course, with the new one, that's when, 3D was kind of, making its headway. So it was in 3D. So if you see the film, there's a lot of moments where you're like, oh, okay, I can see why, they did it like that, because they wanted the 3D. The pickaxe coming down, or the tree going through the windshield because, they crashed or whatever. So it was really dope, in my opinion. I believe I saw one on Prime. The original one was on Prime, and the new one was on Hulu. So guys, go check that out for sure. Let me know what you think about it. But yeah, guys, I know a lot of people didn't like the miner. I read some reviews that it was cheesy. The original one was cheesy, and then in the first one, it kind of made it a little more scarier, but it was still cheesy. But I thought it was good overall. I liked Henry Warden's character. I love how they both had a mental break, and they develop a second personality, or just one developing a second personality, the other one just kind of losing it. And even though they're the people's attempts to kill him again and just get rid, trying to move on from this horrible thing, they end up both surviving. Axel in the 1981 version, ends up just going deeper into the mine, so you really don't know what happens to him. Does he continue living, or does he die somewhere in the mine? And then in the 2009 version, Jensen Ackles walking out, he kills a paramedic, takes over his suit, and then just ends up walking out. So yeah, it's up to date. It's like they left it to where they could make another one, but as far as I know, they haven't made a second version of either one. Looking at it, it was just a reboot, so I don't know. If there is one out there, let me know, and of course I will be doing my research on it, guys. But yeah, guys, Valentine's Day, it brings people together, showing loved ones that you love them. Even though I'm just being honest, it's kind of stupid that it's just dedicated to one day. It should be all year round. And ladies, that doesn't just go for men. Like, oh, he needs to show me appreciation. You need to show appreciation and love and all that. Not just today. Every goddamn day, alright? Y'all, hey, I'm not attacking, on side of either one. Y'all both deserve it. Show it, alright, guys? Guys, thank you for joining me. I don't know if you're seeing this because you're probably out on a date or whatever the hell you're doing. But guys, have a great Valentine's Day. Be safe. If you do go out, I recommend staying home and making dinner, just saying. But if you do go out, be safe, guys. Wear a mask. It's still going on. I fucking walked into a gas station the other day. At least 2 or 3 people are no longer wearing their mask. It's still happening. The numbers are going lower, but it does not matter. Like, we don't want another spike, guys. So be safe. And always remember, if you're not sinning, you're not loving. Just kidding. If you're not sinning, you're not having fun, guys. So rock on, guys.